Welcome back, everybody. Today we are installing valve springs on our GT40 heads. We've got them back from the machine shop, got them painted, so they are almost ready to be installed, but we are on a critical phase of the build. We need to make sure we're getting the right installed heights per the guidelines for the springs we're using on our build. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I'm setting the correct installed height and accounting for the unequal lengths that we have on our grooves for the intake and exhaust valve. You Ford guys probably know what I'm talking about. Chevy guys, I don't even know if you have to worry about this or not, but we certainly do. So let's get started. All right, one problem at a time. Take a look at these setups. These are kind of pre-installed. If we were to install everything straight up with no shims, no different valve keys, this is the setup we would get. And as you can see, our intake valve is taller than our exhaust valve. If you come over here, you can tell that the grooves are installed at different heights. They're cut into the valves differently. And as evidenced by our measurements, we've got about 0.78, 0.79, maybe even 8.0 on the exhaust side. And on our intake side, we've got about 0.85. So we can tell right there that we've got to do something to account for this. So first of all, let me tell you why setting install height is important and making sure both valves have the same installed height. Our install height is important because it determines our seat pressure per the valve spring that you have. It's important to know what valve springs you have. If you don't know what you have, you need to go get them tested. You don't want to use something that might be close. You want to make sure that you're using the correct spring. Otherwise, you could get valve float, failure, your just engine won't be performing as it needs to. So make sure you get the right spring. And we need to make sure our valve height is the same for each valve. That way we get the same seat pressure. All right, let's get to the fun part. We need these springs in order to determine what our installed height will be. I will link these into the description. They're from Comp Cams. I'll also link the other tools I'm using, telescoping gauge, micrometer, and this nice magnetic pole. We do need that too. It helps a lot with the keys. So if we were installing these straight up, as I showed you before, just use our retainer, press down, and whatever keys you have, just install those. And again, we're looking for a 1.8 inch height on this, and make sure this is nice and tight, that it doesn't move around. So we'll take our telescoping gauge, we'll simply put it between the valve retainer and the seat down here, and we'll get a height measurement. Now there are specific tools you can use. They're kind of pricey, so this is a easier and cheaper way of doing it, in my opinion. You can get your length here. Again, we're looking for 1.8, and we've got about 1.91. So this is sitting way too tall. So we need to figure out how to shorten that distance. So let me show you how I'm doing that. And this is how we're going to make up for that difference. Remember, we want an install height of 1.8 inches, and we had around 1.9 inches. So we need to make up that difference. Now these were the keys we were using. These are a standard key. As you can see, the grooves are cut right in the center, but then we have these offset keys right here. Now this one is offset 50 thousandths down, so we see that the grooves are cut lower. This will actually raise the height of the install height. These over here, the groove is cut higher, so that is going to lower the installed height. And if we don't get what we need from just changing the keys, we can use these as well. This is a 60 thousandth shim, 30, and 15. Now it is unadvisable to use more than 60 thousandths shim when you're installing for installed height. Always try to make up that difference with a key. If you do more than 60 thousandths with a shim, you could get the spring walking all over and just unevenness there. So we are going to be using both these things and hopefully get down to our 1.8 install height. Okay, so if I did my math right, I'm going to use this 30 thousandth shim, and it should say on which side you should face down. You can see right here it says face this side down. So we're going to put that down. I'm going to put our tester back on here, our retainer, I compress, and we're going to use our red keys. Oops, that's not right. Here's a red one. And again, make sure it's nice and tight right there. I'm going to take our tool, get a good measurement like that. We'll lock it in place. We'll come to our dial calipers. I think I called them micrometers earlier. They are dial calipers. And we'll go right here. Whoops. And look at that, 1.79. That is perfect. We need to be plus or minus 20 thousandths. So we are within range. We are minus 10 thousandths on this. So we are good. So that's going to be good for this valve. And I'm going to do this for each valve. I found with these cylinder heads, these particular ones, I don't know why, but they're all turning out a little bit different. So having these shims and all of these different keys is helping me greatly. Now that we got our intake valve set, let's set our exhaust side. So we'll zero our tool out and take a quick measurement here. Remember, we need to be at 1.8, and we are .85. So we are going to use a 60 thousandth shim. That should get us right where we need to be at 1.79, well within our plus or minus 20 thousandths range. So let's do that. And 1.783, and there is going to be some variance, but that's still within tolerance. We're at 1.82, so we are good. This is a good setup. Alright everyone, that's basically it. We just needed to get the right shims and the proper offset keys, and we were able to achieve a 1.8 install height, and I'm going to do that on each one of these valves until we get it within plus or minus 20 thousandths, and we should be all set. Well, hey, if you want to see more on these heads, they're almost done, but I will have at least one more video coming out on these, and then the install on the Mustang itself. So if this video helped you, please help me hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.